welcome to JoJo's Corner. This is my week 4 wrap-up for my Read Through the Bible 2013. This week's reading was Job chapter 12 through Job chapter 34. I think that Job is one of the better known books of the Bible. Like, most people know the story of Job, but in a way, it's one of the harder to understand books of the Bible. And the reason that I say that is because of the overall theme or the overall question of Job. And I would say that question is, why do bad things happen to good people? Through no fault of his own, Job lost everything. He lost his health, he lost his wealth, his children, but he still had his friends. And let me just be honest with you guys, these friends were totally getting on my nerves this week, and I wondered if this is where that statement, you know, with friends like these, who needs enemies? I kind of wondered if maybe that's where this came from. But you know, the truth is, we shouldn't be too hard on them, because the fact is, we know something that Job's friends did not know, and that is that God had a plan. See, his friends just wrongly assumed that Job was being punished because of something he had done. There was some sin he was obviously, you know, not being real about. But the truth is, not all suffering is because of sin. Not all suffering is the result of sin. Just like not all blessings are the result of obedience. There are people now living in direct rebellion against God who are prosperous. So we don't just suffer because of sin, because if that was true, then all of us would suffer all the time because we've all sinned. When I was, I'll share something with y'all, a good example of what I'm talking about. When I was 12 years old, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she was given 3 months to live. And people actually told her, you know, whatever you've done, whatever sin you have committed, that God has given you this cancer, you need to confess it. But see, those people just, I mean, maybe they were well-intended people, but they were wrong. Just like Job's friends. They might have had good intentions with what they were saying to Job, but they were just totally missing the mark. The truth is, in Job, we see the sovereignty of God. We see that God was using this situation for a greater purpose. Because the fact is simple. We don't know the whole story. We can't see the end result of what's going on in our lives and why things are happening the way they are. But in Job, in the book of Job, we get a chance to see that. We get to see the beginning of the story. We get to see what took place in the heavenly realm, the conversation between God and Satan. And we also get to see the suffering that Job endured and what he went through. We get to see people coming into his life and trying to give him wise counsel, but really they don't really know what they're talking about either. They don't really know what's going on. And then we get to see the end result. We get to see the end of the story with Job. But we can't always see that in our own lives and in the lives of other people. Only God knows the whole story. I believe that we have choices in our suffering. You know, we can't choose what comes into our lives. We can't choose the challenges that we're going to face and the things that we're going to have to overcome. The suffering that we're going to have to endure. We can't just opt out of that. But we do have choices in the midst of our suffering and coming out of our suffering. I believe that our suffering can either draw us closer to God or it can push us further away from Him. I think our suffering can either make us better or it can make us bitter. And I believe that our suffering can either be used to help other people, or we can just refuse to let it be used for any good at all. So that's it, guys. That's our reading for the week. I think it was a really intense week of reading, just having to sit through Job's friends and enduring that along with him, and you know, seeing him in his suffering. It was really hard. But I would love for you to share in the comments below if there's something in your life, a time of suffering or something that you went through that God was able to turn around and use for good. I'd love for you to share that with us. And until next time, from JoJo's Corner, happy Bible reading.